Hello, my name is Andy Lazur. I'm a water quality specialist with the University of Maryland Extension, and welcome to this Wednesday water webinar on upgrading to best available technology, or BAT septic systems. Well, basically a BAT, also known as an aerobic treatment unit or advanced treatment unit in other states, is essentially a miniature on-site wastewater treatment plant in your backyard to treat your home wastewater. And what they do is they greatly enhance the nitrogen and organic treatment of your household sewage. So these systems in Maryland are required by law if a property is within the critical areas, which is 1,000 feet within tidal waters. And they may be required by some jurisdictions in or even outside the critical areas if the site conditions are challenging. And then all of the approved units, there's 11 approved units in Maryland in 2022 and 23, and these have all been field verified by MDE to at least achieve about a 55% reduction in nitrogen. And then in Maryland, we have the Bay Restoration Fund, which is a grant program that provides opportunities for homeowners and businesses and even nonprofits to upgrade their septic tank portion of a septic system to a BAT unit. Again, the BAT unit is replacing the septic tank portion or component of a septic system. And the Bay Restoration Fund gives priority to those failing systems within the critical areas. So why would you upgrade to a BAT unit? Well, it's first important to note that a conventional septic tank provides very little nitrogen reduction, requires good quality soils in order to maximize the treatment effect of a septic system. And then BAT units, as I said, are significantly reduce the nitrogen, organics, and the oxygen demand of wastewater, therefore providing a cleaner effluent and reducing environmental impacts. And they're a good option for environmentally sensitive areas. Again, that's the critical areas. And it can allow, in some cases, the use of lower quality soil, meaning they have a slower percolation rate or reduced soil depth for that needed treatment. And they can work well with smaller lots. Another thing is that though there's no science or data behind this, the fact that these BAT units provide a lot greater treatment and a more clearer effluent with lower suspended and total solids, there is a no, that's not right. So the BAT unit in the another benefit of a BAT unit is that the significantly greater wastewater treatment results in a clear effluent that has lower total suspended solids and dissolved solids, and therefore would reduce the formation of the biomat in the soils. Again, what happens over time is when you load wastewater into the soils, that organic material can actually form what's called a biofilm or biomat, and that actually can clog the soil pores over time, because a drain field typically has a lifespan of, say, 25 plus years, and that's due to the organic buildup between the soil particles to where the wastewater can no longer percolate through the soil. So a BAT unit can extend the drain field's lifespan. And BAT units can be sized to different types of size homes, as well as different types of businesses, food businesses, strip malls, schools, etc. Here's a schematic that's showing a generic BAT unit, and the wastewater is coming from the home. It goes into this first settling chamber. And this is similar to what a septic tank does. It allows the solids to settle down and the fat, soils, and grease to float up. And then the more clarified water then goes to the second chamber. And here is where it becomes like a wastewater treatment plant. And then they add oxygen, and that oxygen basically feeds the beneficial bacteria to break down the nitrogen in the organics. And then that water then goes into another settling system to get a little bit more settling of the heavier solids. And in some cases, depending upon the design, that water then can go back to the first chamber for additional treatment. Again, there's 11 approved units currently in Maryland, and they all have different designs. But the important thing to note is what comes out of a BAT unit is clear and odorless, essentially. So if we were to compare that with typical septic tank wastewater, it would be dark brown, black, even gray color, and you certainly wouldn't be able to see through it, and it would definitely have an odor. So again, the BAT units are doing a significantly greater job in treating the wastewater. And then the drain field is always an important component of a septic system. And you can use a BAT unit on different types of drain fields. So if your tank has failed, you can replace the tank with a BAT unit and connect it to your drain field. Again, we have conventional gravel trench. We have chambers, which basically is a half of a diameter of a pipe that has perforations in it. It basically is replacing the gravel, if you will. We have drip dispersal. These are shallow base systems, 6 to 12 inches deep, and they run on with a BAT unit and a pump. They periodically will pump out the wastewater, and then it trickles through this specialized tubing. And then we have sand mound, and sand mounds are used typically where we don't have the 4 foot of desired soil beneath the drain field before it hits some sort of restrictive area, whether that be the water table or a tighter soil. And again, if we have poorer quality soils, this is a sand mound, and you have to basically elevate it, go up a few feet in order to get that adequate soil treatment. So here's a diagram that shows the treatment process of household wastewater, and it's basically coming out, and then you get some treatment, very little treatment within the septic tank, and then that goes out into the drain field, and in the presence of oxygen, that feeds the beneficial bacteria, which can convert the ammonia, which is the primary form of nitrogen in wastewater initially, and then it converts it ultimately to nitrate. And then perhaps further down in the soil profile, in the absence of oxygen, there's other beneficial bacteria that convert that nitrate basically into nitrogen gas, which then can, ultimately be released back into the atmosphere. Nitrogen is really key as far as the design of these systems, the BATs, in order to reduce the environmental impact of septic wastewater into our streams and to the Chesapeake Bay. So a tank can remove, say, 5 to 6%. And then a BAT unit, they can remove 55 to say 77%. And a typical drain field in good working order, and the soils are not getting to be clogged with that biomat, you can reduce about 20 to 40% of the nitrogen. So if you have a BAT and a good operating drain field, you can remove essentially up to 86 or so % of the nitrogen, thereby reducing the environmental impact on our surface waters. This is a document put out by the Maryland Department of Environment On-Site Division. It's a great resource tool for homeowners looking to purchase a BAT unit. This is the 11 approved units here, and it basically talks about the cost and its operating expense. The BAT program will fund the actual BAT unit in 2 years of service contract. And this document shows what those service contracts would be after those 2 years. And then also the amount of electricity that's needed in the costs. And a couple of things to note there. If you look at the monthly cost of these different units, it varies depending upon the design of the system. Some use smaller pumps perhaps, or blowers that just use electricity. So the cost of the electricity ranges about $3 to say $20 a month approximately. And then the service contracts range from $225 to $325 per year, dependent upon the manufacturer. Some of the manufacturers will inspect and service the unit once a year, and other manufacturers service it twice a year. So this is a graphic just basically showing you the costs of these units. They range from about $12,000 up to just under $22,000. You can also see the nitrogen removal on the green line here, anywhere from about 55% up to 77%. And this is another graph, just again, showing the data that was on that table to where the maintenance costs are, they range from $225 to $325. And then also the electrical costs running from approximately $30 to say $245 per year, roughly about $2.5 to $20 a month. That's within the range of an electric dryer, for example. Talking about the Bay Restoration Fund, this is a great program. It's funded by the $5 per month per household fee, and it's basically a cost-sharing program for the BAT units. About $16 million a year are allocated annually for the BAT program. Local counties manage the grant funding. So if you're interested in this program, you would contact your local county health or environmental health office. And then it runs on the fiscal year of July 1 to June 30. And then again, it's limited to the current 11 approved units. And then also what they've done in the last couple of years is that they may assist with drain field repairs if you meet certain limited income information. You can check with the MDE website, and they have a list of the current approved vendors in your area. So it's a great program and a great resource. Again, it has a funding prioritization, and that is failing systems within the critical areas. Again, that's 1,000 feet within tidal waters. And then the second rank would be if you're outside those critical areas. Third and fourth deal with what's called non-conforming system. That's basically a system that wouldn't meet current codes. And then again, if you're outside that, new construction, that would get a lower ranking. So as counties receive applications, they follow this ranking. And again, it's a very generous program. You can see here that it will fund up to 100% of the BAT unit. And if your household income is less than $300,000 a year. So it funds the BAT unit, the 2-year service contract, and installation, and removal or filling in of your old septic tank. So again, you can see if you're over that $300,000 per year threshold, then it only funds 50%, but then it also funds nonprofits, small businesses, and for-profit businesses at a very generous rate. Since its inception, we've installed over 15,000 units, and you can see here that Anne Arundel County, Calvert have the most BATs installed. And again, the counties are allocated funding based on the number of septic systems that they have in their county, as well as the total critical areas within that county. So counties that have more systems and more critical areas will receive more funding than other states. And if the county does not use that funding for that fiscal year, the money is returned to the program and then reallocated the following year. So it's a great program to take advantage of, and I encourage you to do so. It's important also to, when we're thinking about any sort of septic system and BAT units, you need to know about how to take care of these septic systems. And this proper care is going to save homeowners money in the long run. So a couple of things to think about is conserve any sort of water. If you have any leaking toilets, whatever, be sure that you fix those, because you don't want to add more water to the system. Again, each system is unique, that particular home and site. So the design of a system is based on the number of bedrooms and a very thorough soil evaluation. And that includes doing a percolation test, but also looking at the soil profile, the soil structure, texture, and that helps to determine what loading rate or how much wastewater can that soil take over a certain amount of time. So again, that's very important. Another thing to avoid is garbage disposals, because they chop up and can potentially add additional organics to the system without being treated. And you don't want to add additional organics to your drain field, because that can prematurely clog those soil pores. Same things with fats, oils, and grease. Avoid that. Recycle those, but do not put them down the drain, because that can be impacting the soil's ability to accept wastewater. And if you clog up your drain field, you're going to have issues. It's going to back up into the house potentially, and that creates a health hazard as well as a big expense. Now, chemicals, it's okay to use a normal amount of household cleaners, bleach in your laundry, things like that, but you certainly don't want to dispose of, say, a half a bottle of Clorox or other bleach product down into your drain, because that's going to kill off the beneficial bacteria that's helping your system do what it needs to do to treat that wastewater. And another really key point about septic system maintenance is only flush toilet paper. No wipes, no other things. There are some products that say it's septic friendly or it's flushable. However, the problem is that those can clog up filters and pipes, etc., the BAT unit. So toilet paper is designed to break down very quickly, and that's the only thing that should be going down the drain. And then if you have any sort of stormwater, whether it be, your roof gutters or your neighbor property kind of drains into your backyard, say towards your drain field, you want to route that away some way. And you can do that by several means, through French drains, a swale or a berm, whatever the case may be, because you don't want that extra water sitting on your drain field, because what's happening is that soil has to be able to accommodate all that water. And again, the system is designed to handle so much water per day, so you don't want to add to that, because it could be prematurely impacting your system. Certainly then don't also want to drive on it, because that compacts the soil. And when you have compacted soil, that closes up those soil pores and reduces the ability of that soil to take that wastewater. And then certain trees certainly can be very harmful to a septic system, because plants love water and nutrients. And a drain field has plenty of water and nutrients. So you don't want roots getting into your system, because it can destroy it. Typical rule of thumb is for most trees, keep them about 50 feet away. I know that's challenging, but there are some tree species that you can have within 25 feet of your drain field or your tank. And we have a YouTube video on our website talking about landscaping. And then a rather key maintenance practice is to have your tank pumped every 3 to 5 years. That's for a conventional system. And your BAT units require special pumping procedures. And so during the service contract, your service provider will determine if and when to pump that BAT unit. Maintain your BAT unit service contract, because again, they're smaller units. They're not going to handle or hold as much solids as a septic tank would. And so you really need to maintain that service contract. Another thing is, don't try to save a few dollars per month by turning off your electricity, because that impacts the ability of that BAT unit to function properly. And you really could be causing more harm than good. So with that, I encourage you to check out the various resources that we have. Certainly our website, we have lots of different printed publications as well as YouTube videos. I mentioned the Maryland Department of Environment On-Site Division is a great resource, has a lot of information about the Bay Restoration Fund. They are the key administrator of that program. And also encourage you to contact your local county health department. Again, they're the ones that administer the BAT program locally. And also check out the Maryland On-Site Wastewater Professionals Association website. They provide training courses for industry, but also opportunities for homeowners as well. So with that, I thank you for your time.